Hey guys, this is Lachey from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I'm back. Now, we've already finished BookTube's Spirit Week, but I want to wrap things up with the last of my annual book reading videos. So we're going to jump right into things, and these are my most surprising reads of 2019. Alright guys, so wow. When I sat down and thought about this, I really wanted to do a video for these because I wasn't expecting to enjoy these so much. These are not my favorite books of the year, but they caught me off guard just how much I enjoyed them. And they kind of, I think, point to some subgenres anyway that I might want to check out more of. So I'm going to jump right in to the books. I'm going to list them in order that I read them. It's just easier for me that way. So first up is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book is written entirely in verse. I kind of knew that and then kind of forgot and then remembered when I went to read it and was like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't dislike poetry or books in verse. I just don't always feel like I understand what's happening. I've never read anything in verse like this. It was very straightforward, and of course, we're talking about Afro-Latinx girl who lives in Harlem, New York City. New York City is my hometown. Half my family's in Harlem, so, and many friends there as well. And she's going through what a lot of us girls go through in this culture, in this city. And I identified it with it so much, but I also saw bits of my mom and my cousins and my aunts and my friends growing up, and what I'm sure my nieces and young cousins and potential future daughters hopefully will not have to go through as much, but may still. And wow, it was just so straightforward. I mean, Elizabeth Acevedo is a must-read author, if not must-buy, from here on out. And if I can find other books with verse written like this, it was really straightforward. I am ready to be a new fan and to have books written in verse be a new favorite of mine. Next up, Power Up by Katie Leff, and the artist whose name I've neglected to write down. So this is another book along with The Poet X that I picked up during Blackathon, and it was random. I went into the library. I was looking for something, I think, to fulfill the prompt that was probably like read a book in with African American characters or African American author in a format that you don't usually read in. And I do like manga and graphic novels. I just don't read a lot of the latter in particular. So I was just perusing the library shelves and I saw this and one other and I picked them both up. But I enjoyed them both. But I loved Power Up. I love the diversity of the characters. We see 4 characters become imbued randomly with superpowers from another planet, and then they struggle to figure out what the hell is going on. This is a series that I wish to continue in this year, 2020, and I enjoyed it so much. It's hilarious. It's like I said, full of diversity from various cultures, ages, genders, sexual identities, lifestyles, and then we have superpowers and international space incidents and fights, and the artwork is adorable and cool. So what's not to like? I don't know, but this is not something I would have thought of. I just picked it up and I was like, oh, it looks interesting. And that it did not turn out to be anything that I expected. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to give away spoilers. The third book that was most surprising this year was Summer of Assault by Katrina Leno. This I picked up because it was the group read, I believe, for the Letha Witchathon run by Rhiannon at Crescent Moon Reads. Link in the description below. This is a queer YA contemporary novel with a little sprinkle of magical realism. No, not magical realism, of fantasy. It's mostly contemporary. It's about two sisters who live on what most of us would call a vacation island. The people who it's a small island. It's not super popular, but it's enough that people go there every summer, and that's how the people who live on the island make a living, basically, during the summer season. The girls are turning 18, and they are part of a family of magical women. And at the age of 18, each woman in their family becomes aware of her magic, whatever her affinity is, and things go from there. The two sisters decide that they want to go to college on the mainland, which is not the usual, but that's okay. Meanwhile, there's a mystery, the mystery of a missing bird, and it drives the whole island and the tourists that come to birdwatch crazy. A lot happens. It's very dramatic. There's a lesbian love interest, which is super sweet and cute and gives you all the warms and fuzzies and a little bit of the buzzing that anyone could ask for in any kind of romance. And it's a coming of age. There's a little bit of magic. There's a little bit of mystery. There's some death. And there's family. And this really reminded me a lot of older Nora Roberts books. And so I loved it. I wasn't expecting that from this. I don't read YA contemporary. But if you saw my decade video from Spirit Week, it's becoming something I'm more interested in, thanks in part to this, even though there's a magical element here. But it's small. Anyway, next book, The Hayden Game by Sally Thorne. Okay, so I figured I would like this book. It's a contemporary romance. I haven't read a contemporary romance in a long time. And yeah, I didn't think I would like this book as much as I did. Even while I was reading it, I was just like, I don't know. But as it kept going, and I read this book literally with this smile on my face the entire time. It's funny, it's cute, it's kind of stupid. But I really enjoyed it. It's about two adults who work together, but they're enemies because they're two companies combined. I'm forgetting the word. Merged. There we go. They had the companies. Their two publishing companies merged together in order to survive in the industry, and their work ethics and patterns are completely different. And this is supposed to be hate to love. They don't really hate each other. They just strongly dislike and distrust, at least on one side. The girl is kind of ridiculous, honestly. I could see some of myself in her, but not that much. Um, and I think she's really lucky. Dude was genuinely in love with her, because otherwise, who would put up with that shit? So anyway, she's super dramatic. I loved it so much, and I was not expecting to. I read this, well, I picked it up to read for the last Contemporary-thon of 2019. I think that was in September, but I didn't get to it in time, or it didn't get to me from the library in time. I picked this to fulfill the prompt, to read a favorite by another booktuber, and this is the Hayden Game, is one of my favorite booktubers' favorite books of all time. So why wouldn't I pick it? And I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed it. I'm thinking about buying it, actually, so I can reread the nonsense. But last book in this is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. Sorry. Um, this I listened to on audiobook, which I think gave me an extra enjoyment. Um, Last year I read, what did I read? I read The Picture of Dorian Gray and didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I hated one of the characters, and that took a lot of enjoyment out of it for me. But I wasn't sure. I came across the readathon Victober, and I'll link to it down below. And I was like, you know what? I'll participate, read some Victorian literature. They had two small, I guess, novellas or plays to suggest for the group reads, and The Importance of Being Earnest was one of them. This was so hilarious. I didn't know what to expect going into this, but it was super funny. I was reminded that with some historical literature, I don't want to say just Victorian literature, because I'm not really aware of time frames as far as historical literature goes. But with some historical literature, I really enjoy the presence of the dry, witty humor. The heavy doses of sarcasm and irony are, I love them, because I love that kind of humor in real life. So that being all over this play was great. The audiobook I listened to with all of the actors were amazing. It's kind of a stupid premise. We have a man pretending that his name is Ernest because he wants to marry a woman who will only marry a man named Ernest. And then we have his friend slash cousin who is also pretending to be his brother, so he can marry another woman who will only marry a man with another specific name. And all of this lying is going on, and then people find out, and it's all crazy and ridiculous. There's also an underlying very serious tone. Oscar Wilde is obviously poking jabs at Victorian society and how ridiculous a lot of its rules are, and it's interesting to compare it to today's times, where some of this stuff still goes on. It's all ridiculous, but I loved it so much. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. I was just like, it's short, I'll see how it goes, and I loved it. So those are my surprising reads for 2019. Let me know what you think. Did you participate in any of these readathons? Because as you saw, I picked up all of these books thanks to the readathons I randomly joined last year, and that was great. That was a good turnout. I mean, there were other readathons that I joined and enjoyed the books as well, but these all surprised me. So, yay, readathons. Have you read any of these? What do you think of them? Do you enjoy any of these? I'm definitely going to try more YA contemporary thanks to the Poet X and Summer of Salt. Uh, some more contemporary romance thanks to Hayden Game, and some more Victorian literature, Oscar Wilde, in particular thanks to the importance of being earnest, and more graphic novels and books in verse thanks to Power Up and the Poet X. So I just like thank you guys, all of the hosts for these readathons, for doing so, because I don't know that I would have picked up any of these books if those readathons hadn't happened. Um, so yeah, next video will be my favorite books of 2019. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you're looking forward to that video that's coming up, and if you would like to check out any of my other reading videos, you can find them in the Magical Librarian playlist on my channel. I'll link everything down below. You can be my friend on social media and Goodreads. Links in the description as well. Happy New Year.